Ma'am, just a moment. We will just withdraw.
Okay, till then I will share my view about literacy, world literacy. All right. Everybody, it was a very enlightening discussion. We all spoke about literacy. Actually, literacy leads to education. Literacy is the building block of education, I would say, but without literacy, gaining of knowledge is not complete. I wouldn't say impossible, but it's not complete, because these are two different terms. Being literate is one and being educated is one, and being knowledgeable is the next thing. Anyway, this is it forms a foundation to your education. And about education, in our scriptures, there is a very beautiful saying by Chanakya, Acharya Chanakya, Vidya Dhanam Sarva Dhana Pradhanam. Now, why? Like, this is the only wealth, the education, the knowledge what we have is the only wealth which others cannot rob us of. That is a very, very powerful statement. Today, in this technological world, a lot of information is flowing. Everything is available at the fingertip, and we have a lot of money and lot of disposable income, you call it, or everything, all materials on one side, but your knowledge is on the other side. So today, in today's world, knowledge rules. If you have knowledge, if you have understanding, and that rules. So literacy is very important, and we all are educators, and we have become educators because there is that passion inside us. It's not just for the income. Yes, income we want, but we are also interested in the outcome. Our outcome is our student, how efficient we make them. So my message to everyone, not just the teachers and educators, everyone around the world is, please be aware that every child, it's a human birthright to get literacy. So try to teach. You don't have to be always on a global platform to teach. Just, do something for your own mates' children, your own drivers' children, or your own neighbors who are not able to learn. So that will empower. So that is my message on literacy. Over to you, Malika, Dr. Malika.
Thank you so much, everybody. And sorry for the interruption. I'm not at fault. It's the electricity. So, my dear friends, we've had a wonderful discussion and views from all our panelists, on Literacy Day, and ma'am has also shared. So now we will proceed to our next segment of this evening, World Suicide Prevention Day. So, my friends, the goal of World Suicide Prevention Day is to shine a light on the problem in hopes of reaching people who are struggling before it's too late. The theme of 2021 is creating hope through action. So we have with us Dr. Arundhati. Ma'am is an educationist and a lifelong learner. Ma'am is consultant for Cambridge International Schools, former director principal of reputed Cambridge International Schools and IB World School in Mumbai. Ma'am is also author, journalist, poet, visual artist, felicitated with awards on national and international platforms. We are happy and glad to have you amongst us, ma'am, on this evening of Shield 2021. We heartily welcome you, and the entire Global Educators Fraternity welcome you. Ma'am, the floor is all yours, and kindly highlight and apprise us on the World Suicide Prevention. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction. Good evening to all those in the Eastern Zone, and good day to all those in the Western Zone. I'm Dr. Arundhati Oskeri, consultant in education for Cambridge Schools, as Dr. Malika already said. I'm from Mumbai, India. I'm an educationist for the past 36 years, and 21 years I have headed the schools as a principal and as a director. Well, there is again a beautiful saying in our scriptures, Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Mokshayoho. For others, those who do not have knowledge of Sanskrit, it simply means that our mind is the most powerful tool. Our mind is the ultimate cause of bondage as well as salvation. You may say, what is this? How can it be responsible for salvation, and how can it be always for salvation as well as bondage? Yes, it is. Because whatever we manifest in our life, whether it is success or failure, love or hatred, or contentment or frustration, call it anything, everything first shapes up in our minds, in our thoughts. So what happens is, if we learn to choose good thoughts, keep away or at least control our negative thoughts, we can avoid many unpleasant situations in life. I'm sure all of you agree with me over here.
Yes.
So on the occasion of World Suicide Prevention Day that is celebrated on every year on 10th of September, I'm glad to share my thoughts on how we adults can help our teens in managing their emotions and stay mentally fit. This topic is very, very wide, it has a very wide canvas. It can happen at any age, up till the age, right, old age. But I'm focusing on the teens because we are all educators, so teens suffer a lot. So my focus today will be on the teens. But generally, it is applicable to all. So this is an attempt to create awareness about how sometimes adolescent children suffer in their own way and in their own world, and how can basic thing is how we can help them to cope up. That is my focus. Now, who are teens? Usually we consider teens as 13 to 19. That's why they are called as teenagers, right? Now, teenagers means that's a period of adolescence. But now, this can set in little early or little late. That also we are aware. But you will be surprised to know WHO today defines adolescence as children from 10 years to 19 years age group. It means it has set in quite earlier. This is because of, again, lot of exposure and lot of knowledge what the kids are getting. So they are getting more aware, and adolescence is setting earlier. Now, the period of adolescence actually is a transition from puberty to adulthood. It's not an easy task. See, for us, like children are born and they go through, childhood and boyhood, and then they start getting older. That's not like that. Even we have gone through that stage. And we all agree that that's a very, very stressful period because it is characterized by so many rapid changes, rapid physical development and emotional development and psychological development. It keeps on happening, which is sometimes difficult for the children to cope up. Why sometimes it's always difficult for the children to cope up, but it all depends on what kind of support they are getting at home or at school, so that, children can really do well. And, if they get a conducive environment and guidance, then, this transition is very smooth. Otherwise, it can really be very, very difficult for children. So, actually, we are talking about World Suicidal Day. No, suicidal tendencies actually are very, very, they come in the later stage. First, let me discuss about, the depression. Like, what do I exactly mean by depression? Let me talk. Because suicide doesn't happen over whenever any stress comes in life. So, suicidal tendencies are a result of severe mental depression. And depression is a word which has got a very, social stigma attached to it. People don't even want to discuss it. People don't even want to talk about it. I'll tell you my own example. When I was in high school, my mom wanted me to attend, evening dinner at her friend's place. We all were supposed to go. So I just told her, Mom, I'm not feeling too good. I'm a bit depressed. So you all go. I don't want to accompany you. My mom was shocked. She sat next to me. She said, what are you talking? Don't use heavy words like this. Don't even mention it to yourself. You have no idea. The minute the word spreads anywhere that, then you will be branded as somebody who has got a mental problem. No boy will come forward to marry you. This this has actually happened. So this is reality. But even today, with all the awareness, society is understanding and opening up, no doubt about it. They are gathering the information. But what is happening is, even today, the parents do not want to even think that their kids can have depression. That is the worst part. They don't even want to feel. Whatever happens now, we all talk about depression, we all talk about suicide, but our thought process is it happens in somebody else's house. Oh my God, so sad, why it happened, how it happened. But we never want to think that it can happen to us. Why not? I can get depressed, my kids can get depressed. What is wrong with it? It's a mental state that kids go through. So that is another thing. As an educational leader, as a head of the school, I have faced a lot of problems. whenever I called a parent to tell him that, okay, your child requires some help and he's whenever there is a disruptive behavior in a kid. So I have always done this. So please, you take him to a psychologist or something. I have faced quite a lot of, resistance. Nowadays, thanks to Thare Jameen Par and Amir Khan, people are proud to say that, oh, my kid is dyslexic because we get concessions and all that. But they are not ready to accept that their children can be anxious, they go through depression and all these things. So that is even today the scenario. Now let us quickly understand what are the causes of this depression? Why kids get depressed? Okay. First thing is it could be due to some biochemicals in the body, that is, I could call it on all the hormones or differences in the chemical levels. It's not always the hormones, What happens is sometimes it could be even hypervitaminosis or hypovitaminosis or thyroidism. All these conditions also can trigger your brain of the serotonin levels, and the kids can go into depression. And sometimes depression is also genetic. If there is a history that runs in the families of mental disorders, it can happen. Again, mild to severity, what stage they are in depends on what is so many other factors over there. Then, low self-esteem. The kids who do not believe in themselves, they get overwhelmed. The minute little stress is there, they get overwhelmed. They want to be pampered around, and they want that, oh, no, you can't do this, you will do this. They are gullible for this kind of a thing. Then another thing is disturbing environmental, external environment. This I don't have to name the countries and name the zones. So much of violence around the world, girl safety is not there. Kids are the very soft targets for any predators, I would say. The kids are targeted. So if you expect very strong mental hygiene from those kids, how is it possible? That also can trigger depression. And then the family atmosphere. So broken homes and poverty. Poverty is one of the reasons. It's not always the poverty. It is the family, binding, how people are there. So even if people are, very rich, what they do is they think, okay, I can buy him PS5, I can buy him the high-end mobile, I can give him pocket money, everything they provide. And, they teach indulgence to children, but there is no emotional security for the kids. They are deprived emotionally. They are constantly left to the ayahs and drivers. You don't know how your kids are treated by them. I'm glad somebody mentioned about emotional education. That is very, very important in today's thing. It's not always the marks, or it's not always the competition, or it's not always your talents, but mentally, emotionally, we have to train our children. That is the first thing to stop depression. You may find depressed people all around, even as adults. You could find them among your friends or workplace or family or, neighborhood, whatever. Now, whenever you find a nitpicker, they were never appreciated when they grew up. They are the ones who will always find faults with the system. You tell him anything, no, this is not right, that is not right, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. These nitpickers never were happy children because they never got acknowledged or appreciated. That is always finding fault with others. That shows low self-esteem. If you don't have confidence in yourself, you want to feel empowered by picking up and pecking up on others. So that is the thing. And there are some category of people who always make fun of others, oh, this one is bad, that one is dark, this one is tall, this one is short. See, physical appearance has only one level of acceptance. But as a person, you have to talk. You have no business or no right to talk about others. These were all the kids who were always targeted and, ridiculed when they were growing up. Trust me. And a person who is constantly cribbing about anything and everything. There are adults who crib around everything. You give them anything, but they will say, oh, if only this was like this, it would happen like that. Oh, this is not working. You give them 101 ideas. All 101 ideas they will negate and tell you, no, ma'am, I tried this. You mean to say I didn't try this? I have tried it. It's not working. Okay, try this. No, even that doesn't work. So these are all the people, either they are heading towards depression or they are already in depression. Trust me when I say this. All right. Now, if this is the case, then, what is our responsibility? There is a huge responsibility on the adults. They may be parents, siblings, teachers, and relatives, or whatever role we are playing in the life of children, we have a great responsibility. Whenever another thing I'll tell you, or like, anything goes wrong with the children, I mean, school is to be blamed. Oh, teachers are not caring these days and teachers are not working. And the child gets very good marks and comes, our teachers work so hard. Still parents will, no, I had put him for private tuition and that teacher is very good, I'm sorry to say this. You can give external help, but don't demean the school. Don't demean the teachers who are working so much for you. As I told, if we didn't have any passion, we wouldn't be in this profession. We could do 101 things, not just, getting into education. All right. So, how to identify, like, what are the general symptoms in the teenagers? How to identify depression? First thing is lack of concentration and inability to think clearly. The kid, loses concentration. It could happen even at home, like sitting and watching television. Switching the channel every 2 minutes also shows mental unrest, whether it's adult or a child, because you're not feeling peaceful with you. It's not that you're not finding the programs good or bad. That is another thing. Second thing is loss of interest in the favorite activities and exasperation and fatigue. If a child comes and says, oh, I'm so tired, I can't do this, I can't do that. What, like 14, 15 years, if you start behaving like 60, 70, that is something that is going wrong then, and also loss of interest in the favorite games. If the child enjoyed outside sports, he refuses to go. If he enjoyed chess or tennis, whatever, they will refuse to do that. Then that is a sign that something mentally they are having disturbance. And sudden weight gain and sudden weight loss. Okay, binge eating, like you're going on eating, and then what happens is inactivity, lot of eating and lot of mental stress lead to thyroidism, which often we don't relate to. Even the kids these days are getting this kind of a thing. Or even emotional disorders are common these days. In one of the schools where I worked, I had a case of bulimia. A girl was like, she was plump and she was dark, and all her dream was, like other girls, she wanted to be slim and she wanted to flaunt and she wanted to wear different clothes. Coming from a very affluent family, the child went on becoming thin and thin. One day the mother wanted to meet me. I said, why she wants to meet me? Ask her to go to school counselor. I was pretty busy. But then I said, I can't deny a parent, right? I said, okay, come, like, what is your problem? No, ma'am, my daughter is eating a lot, but, I'm really worried. All her tests are negative and, all her blood count is fine, but she's losing weight like anything, and that's really scaring me. So, like, I just want to take your this thing. So then, my mind worked. I'm a great fan of Sherlock Holmes, so my mind started working in a different direction. I told, all right, don't worry, I will check it. Next 3 days, I kept a vigil on that girl. I appointed 3 different maids to check her lunch time, what she's doing and how she's doing. So she used to get the whole thing. She ate very happily. Then she went to washroom and she threw everything up. And first day I thought maybe the kid is not well. Second day also it happened. Third day also it happened. Then one of the maid was very intelligent. She said, ma'am, I think I have a feeling that she was inducing vomiting. And that was the signal enough for me. Then I called the child all alone. I shut the doors. I said, I'm not even calling the psychologist, not your mother. I am going to talk to you. I'm head of school, right? You have to talk to me. Then the child started crying. I said, why are you doing this? Then she admitted, no, my mom doesn't listen if I want to eat less than that. This is a mental disorder called as bulimia. So children forcefully, they throw it out. So they want to become thin. So these kind of things, like, and also disrupted sleeping patterns are very common in the teenagers. So if they don't sleep, then what they do, they are all the time on the social media. You just watch 3 o'clock also, 4 o'clock also, 3 o'clock also they are. And when are they going to sleep? Our brain requires rest, right? So that is another thing. And gloomy temperament and not wanting to get into any physical activities. And also a child starts feeling guilty and worthless. And then the suicidal thoughts and tendencies develop in them. And suddenly low academic performance from average to bright kids. Okay, if they were performing well and if they are not doing so, we need to understand, okay, boss, something is going wrong. I need to help this kid out. So that should be a warning signal for us. So as per the 2019 India Today report, 1 in 4 teenagers in India suffer from depression. Yet we pretend that it's happening elsewhere, not in our homes, not in our schools. So we feel no, we are all safe zone. No, that's not true. And one student among every 4 hours commits a suicide. If this is to be believed, this is a very scary thing. And then the next question comes: is depression treatable? Yes, 100% depression is treatable. But the first thing is to create awareness among people. Don't be ashamed or afraid to admit that your kid can go through depression. So if we come to know immediately, you don't have to use a heavy word depression, forget it. If your child is restless, if your child is disturbed, you start working on the child and the child can come out of it and cope up beautifully. You should, protect your kid. So, depression actually is among the most treatable mental disorders. About 75 to 85% of people get help. I won't say they will be completely out of it, because that is a tendency people develop over the years. So it is not I'll be wrong if I say it will be completely gone. So they will have the tendencies. We have to keep on watching them and provide them with the proper support. Okay. And a proper diagnosis is needed over here, collecting the family history. Sometimes even blood tests will, rule out all the endocrine imbalances are required. And studying the behavior pattern of children. Once in a while, the child is crying or child is upset, we can't label him as a depressed kid. We have to wait and watch how repeatedly these things are happening. So we have to take the right course of action. To tell you very frankly, our teachers are not psychologists to identify immediately the thing. That is why wherever I worked, I used to conduct a session with teachers. At least once in a month I would talk, and I worked very close with the SEND department, special educational needs. So I would study the profile of each child and guide my teachers so that every head should, get into. Now, according to new education policy, in BEd course is going to have a little bit of psychology, and I'm very, very glad about it. So, but the point is, at least the teacher should be able to, give a indication and indicators so that the parents are made aware, and then we can send the kids to the school psychologist, school counselor, and then, seek some help. Sometimes the schools are not having enough facility for all the, psychologists and remediation and all that. In that case, what they do is they will hire an external agency. So wherever it is, we need to help. Now, suicide happens in extreme cases. Causes for such act are innumerable, and I can't discuss it in all this short time. So it is a duty of every adult around them, around the kids, to protect them from reaching such an extreme stage. So how do we do it? With all the advanced technology and progress and modern lifestyle, life is becoming more and more complex. Okay, so teens these days have many distractions. Okay, they are too pressurized to cope up. You may wonder, what is there to, they are not supposed to earn money, or they just have to go to school and, study. What stress our kids are having, you are completely wrong. Children, as I told you, adults build their own world and their own cocoon around them. So for them, even on a social media, a kid protects her, posts her picture, which is very beautiful. Okay, which is very beautiful. But no likes are given. How the cyberbullying happens? Other kids tell, hey, this one has posted a picture, dare anybody put a like, completely ignore. So the child goes every hour, every half an hour saying, no like, that also can be a disturbing factor. This happens with the adults also. Many times adults speak to me, I'm these days feeling very bad and nobody is bothered about me. I said, are you posting the picture only to get likes? Then you are wrong. You do it for yourself and it's your feel-good factor, then, you don't have to. So the kids go through this. And actually the life of teens is more complex than we think, The stress that builds up can lead to depression. Then bombardment of too much of information and many a times incorrect information leads to a lot of stuff like, teenage pregnancy and, children, body shaming happens with children, and, they are in a very vulnerable state. If we don't give them as a school or as homes, parents or teachers, if we don't impart proper knowledge, then naturally they are gullible for getting wrong information. Then we, scold them, and then we point a finger. Oh, how this happened? We never teach this in school. We never teach it in home. Right? You didn't teach bad behavior, but did you focus on the good behavior? Did you study the behavior pattern of a child? Is my question. So, and constantly pushing the children for academic excellence also is very stressful. Never, see, as a parent, even my aim is to give the best. What I couldn't get, I want to impart it to my children. That's a very natural feeling for humans, okay? I agree with that. But there must be a limit. We can't force a child. If you are a doctor, your husband is a doctor, family of doctors. If a child wants to become a rock singer, please let him go. Let him explore his life. Who knows, he may become very good in that also. Whatever they want to do, to them. Don't force what they don't like. That is my message. So, how we really take care of them now? Keep the communication channel open with them and develop the trust. Whenever any disturbance is there, small or big, your kids should have the I would say that confidence in you to come and unburden, come and tell, see, this is what is happening, whatever. Even when they do something wrong, they have to come and tell you. That is the bond you have to create as a teacher with a child and as a parent with a child. And, spend time with them. Money doesn't always compensate for love and time. How children spell money is Time, not Money. However much you give, but they want your attention. They want you to sit with them. Actually, Chanakya has said, Chanakya is my favorite, so I am quoting, sorry, this is another quote. Lalayet panchavarshani dashavarshani tadayet prapte tu shodase varshe putram mitra vadacharet. What do I mean by this? You have to pamper a kid till he is 5 years, he or she is 5 years, because they are too small to understand. Don't try to too much discipline, too much sermon. Sometimes the parents, 2.5-year-old baby, yesterday I told you this, how many times I have to tell you, you're doing the same thing. You know what, the kid's frontal lobe is not completely developed. Whatever information you gave yesterday was processed only for that particular time. It is not retained. You can't blame a child. But when they reach 10 years, then you start disciplining them, because they now are into the adult world. They are trying to gain things. But when they become 16 years, when they become 15 or 16, treat them like your friends. Just look at this wisdom. So you can't treat them like small children. Oh, my baby, my small baby. For a mother, even a 50 or 60-year-old boy and girl are also babies. I understand. But try to treat them with age-appropriate way and handle them with patience. And don't yield to all the demands. Patience means I'm not saying everything, whatever they wish you give. No, don't give. But you give a reason. Don't ridicule them or don't condemn them or don't snap at them when they ask something. Because they are asking, because they are seeing it in all their teen group, whatever the kids are getting. So you tell them, no, better like you, I can't do this, or I can't. You have to give an explanation and understand. And watch out for any warning signals of stress or depression and immediately try to remove those things, iron those wrinkles, then the kid will be fine. And don't be afraid to seek professional help. This I am saying it again for the second time. We have a huge responsibility of making them best fit into the society. Today, our society is not only Mumbai or India or Maharashtra. Our society is the entire globe. We are preparing our kids for global citizenship. So let's be sensitive towards children and groom them in the best possible way and teach them. Most important thing is teach them to accept failures. Every time, everything I write need not be a very good thing, or every time I do something need not be worthy of getting the first rank or whatever. It's not always achievement. Sometimes you have to fail in life, then only you will realize, okay, how I am to, get into success. So teach children, it's okay, beta, if you didn't get good marks, that's fine with me. If you didn't win the race, fine with me. You participated, that is more important. So be very sensitive to children. We can really, really avoid the damage. So thank you so much. I think 2 more minutes are left, but I don't want to overshoot. So over to you, Malika. Thank you all for your patient hearing, and thank you, Rachna. And you're doing a wonderful job. And thank you, Malika and Vinny, for your hosting the show. Thank you.
Malka ma'am, I would just like to add on to what Arundhati ma'am said, that yes, creating an awareness for suicide prevention is the need of the hour, because due to this lockdown, many of them are under depression, which we don't come to know. Although outward they look very much normal. So, being an handwriting expert, quickly I'll just take 1 minute to identify the sign of depression. If a person is not writing on a straight line, if the sentences are going beyond the line towards the bottom, what do we call pessimistic? If something goes down, so that is a sign of suicidal tendency. So, being an alert citizen, each one of us can identify with the signature. If it is going beyond the baseline, beyond the straight line, it is an alarming signature. That person, whether it be a child or an adult, requires counseling. And if there is a lot of spacing between two words, that person wants isolation. He wants his own space, and when a person wants isolation, that again may be one of the suicidal tendency, because the person might be under depression. So if you find these two signs in anyone who is writing, please counsel, please talk to them, please give the person love, support, so that the person can open up. And if each one of us just saves one suicide, yes, we have done our part. With this, Malka ma'am, over to you.
Actually, Rachna, thanks for bringing this, because it was on my mind. I wanted to mention this point, but the clock started ticking away. I didn't want to shoot time, but thank God, like you mentioned this. This is very true what she said, and she's a handwriting expert. Actually, graphology is directly connected to your brain cells. So whatever you think, you write. Of course, when the handwriting is bad, always it doesn't mean that the child is having a trouble. Maybe having a neurological problem also can lead to some bad handwriting. But what she is discussing is when normal children start writing very bad, or they can identify. So anybody wanting for your school or your kids around, go to Rachna. She is too good at it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arundhati, for touching on the very, very sensitive areas to help us know how we can also contribute in, preventing suicide. Thank you so much, ma'am. We have our viewers, audience, guests with us. If any one of you have any question to Dr. Arundhati, you are open to it. In the meantime, you raise your hand. I will just have a small, quick question to Dr. Arundhati. Ma'am, is it true that men commit suicide more often than women? Ma'am, unmute. Ma'am, kindly unmute, yes.
Yeah. It is true. Why it happens is women have a better way of coping up with things, psychological disturbances. See, they sit and cry. But for men, we condition the boys. Oh, you're a boy. Why are you crying? Don't cry. You fell down. You're a boy. Nothing will happen. So, men actually, like when they are growing up, they are asked to suppress those thoughts, and they are never allowed to express. If a boy cries, what are you crying like a girl? Don't ever say that. I told you, this topic is so wide, I can go on for hours and hours. So these are the things. That is why men cannot cope up many a times, and they get too stressed. Leave about suicidal tendencies. Even if they don't like something in their wives, they are scared to tell that, It's not that the wife is going to leave him and go, but still that is how the mental makeup of men is built over the years. And they cannot cope up, and they easily give into alcohol, easily give into smoking. These days, of course, women are also getting into that. I'm not only saying men, it's a universal thing, it's becoming. But yes, you are right. Women can actually cope up mechanism for them is, good enough, very well built. If nothing happens, they will sit and cry their heart out and release their emotions. That's the thing.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Anybody from our audience have any question?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello?
Who is it? Yes.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening, ma'am. First of all, you have given nice presentation. But the thing is that as far as the sociology is concerned, this is that suicide is good for the society. How?
No. I don't say suicide is good for society. For me, actually, human life is very precious. And whatever happens, we have to teach the children to, come out of it, teach the adults. See, problems come everywhere. Only because we have the capability of thinking and, we are visualizing, we are thinking, we have got emotional side, so we suffer. That's okay. We should try to come out of it. See, the trees and the birds and all, they also must be going through so much, but, they don't have so much of well-developed brain to get into depression. Will you leave eating a chicken if it is getting depressed, but still you cut and eat it, right? That is not the thing. Human life, why we call it precious is we have that awareness and we have that processing power for our brain, and we have to think and we have to protect. I will never ever say suicide is good for society. I mean, I don't.
Ma'am, there is one of the suicide type of suicide, that is altruistic suicide.
What is that?
People do suicide for the fame, for other things. Altruistic suicide.
Are you talking about those who bomb self-bombers and all that, those kind of things you are talking?
Yeah. They do for the same, for the fame.
See, no. When you are talking about this, that itself is a complete sign of depression. They are completely brainwashed. By killing yourself, you cannot bring happiness in others. If there is no happiness in you, how can you distribute to others? And this is all, conditioning of like brainwashed. All, I don't want to take the names. The children are caught young and provided with anything and everything and constantly brainwashed. That, you are suffering, like your community is suffering, your country is suffering, you do this, so you will be releasing. So that is a complete slow poisoning is done for the brains. And that is the highest type of, what you say, depression. And children, whoever does these kind of things, they have no awareness. They lose complete track of what they are doing. That is the thing. Exactly.
Thank you, Dr. Arundhati, for throwing lights on all the questions asked by our guests, and it's really amazing. Actually, you rightly said it's a very, very vast topic, and we really cannot conclude it within a couple of minutes or hours. So definitely we would look forward to having a complete session with you and to know better, so that we can also contribute to humanity and we can save lives. Thank you.